What's happening, guys? It's Jeremy Blanton with RE/MAX Southern Shores. And, well, I have to be honest before we get really into the topic. I screwed up. I shot this whole awesome video and I had this shot that you're seeing here set up. I had a side view shot and all these different things where I was going to look back and forth between the two cameras, and, well, I screwed up. I forgot to hit start on the one camera. So we only really have one shot where you're going to see my face some of the time, and a lot of it you're going to kind of see from the side. I apologize, but this is some really good information that I wanted to share with you. I read an article online the other day that the demand for mortgages is up 28% in 1 week. Why is that? Because interest rates have gotten to the lowest that we have seen since last September. So let's jump into this video, and I hope you guys enjoy it. What's happening, guys? It's Jeremy Blanton with RE/MAX Southern Shores, and I want to take a little bit of time today to talk about an article that I recently read over on CNBC, and you'll see it here on your screen, and it talks about that mortgage demand has jumped nearly 28% in 1 week as interest rates have dropped. Yes, you've heard it. Interest rates went through the roof last year, but they have already started to come back down. What has that done for selling a house in Myrtle Beach or buying one? Well, it has made the market start to go back busy. So what does this mean for the market? Well, what it means is that in the past few weeks, I have seen a ton of activity happening here. I've had a lot of people reaching out who've been looking to buy a house here, and I have been extremely busy, which is awesome. Actually, last week alone, I did 3 different contracts for buyers. And so we were able to find properties. You know, I spoke about it in a video a few weeks back that there's going to be better opportunities this year for buyers who are looking to buy and move to the Myrtle Beach area. This means that with interest rates starting to come back down, more of those buyers are going to start coming back into the market. And at the same time, let's take a look at some things that are happening here and what is causing it. And I'm going to jump over to the computer here in a minute and we'll check those things out. So let's do so. Okay, so as you can see here in this article, it shows that mortgage demand has jumped nearly 28% in 1 week. And here's the key points as to what has caused that. Mortgage rates are at the lowest level that they have been in the last 3.5 to 4 months since September. And what that's doing is bringing a new demand into the market. You know, we had a change in the market where the federal government and everybody started raising interest rates to try to bring a little bit of balance in. And honestly, I think they went a little too quick. You know, what we saw is properties going from being of great value and great interest rates in the 2 to 3% to all of a sudden these things just skyrocketed up. And I'll show you a correlation here in a second between interest rates rising and the inventory of property and the demand and things going down and going up and slowing down. And it's amazing how these two things correlate together. But now that we're starting to see interest rates come back down a little bit, the demand is starting to go back up. Also, as you can see here, the average contract interest rate for a 30-year fixed mortgage right now decreased down to 6.23. So we're under 6.25% again. I know back a few weeks ago in the beginning of the year, even the end of last year, those interest rates were up over 7%. So to see this starting to come back down is a very good thing for those of you who've been thinking about making the move to Myrtle Beach. As you can see here, the application for a mortgage to purchase a home increased 25% week to week. Even though it's lower than what it was for the same week last year, don't freak out. The reason that that's happening is, yes, the rates are still higher, but you are able to find a home. As I've been sharing with people for a while right now, is that when you're thinking about buying a house, you should marry the house and date the rate. What that means is find the house that fits all your needs. My wife and I, that's what we did last year. We found a home that fit all our needs with our kids, our puppies, and was in the area we wanted to be. And so we jumped on it and bought that house at that time. Our interest rate, it's much higher than I would like for it to be. No doubt about it. But hopefully over the next few months, and maybe even by the end of the year, interest rates will come back down again. I will be able to go in and do a refinance on this house and save a lot of money in the long run. If I waited on that property to purchase at that time, number one, it would have been gone. I wouldn't be able to find something else like it at that time. Rates also had a recent high at 7.2 in October. So October, it's saying, according to this article, is kind of when things really started to peak and we hit that top of the top. But as they're starting to come down, the end of the year at 6.5, a little bit above it. versus what they were at 3.64. So as you can see, it's a big difference from what it was a year ago. But that shouldn't stop you from buying a house. As I shared in a video the other week, there's some constants that Myrtle Beach has no matter what's happening right now in the real estate market. These are things that are going to stay the same, whether interest rates are 2%, 5%, 8%, whatever they may be. And those are the things that are making people want to move to Myrtle Beach on a regular basis. Those things include beautiful weather year-round. No longer having to shovel snow is a great thing. I worked with a client this last week who was from New Hampshire, and they were down here walking around in shorts and t-shirts looking at condos, and they went back home, and when the Uber dropped them off, they had to shovel out their car, and luckily the Uber had a brush for them to even brush off the snow just to get back into their car. You don't have that problem down here. We don't really see much snow, and when we do, well, it's not enough to amount to anything. In addition, we still are going to have the low property taxes and lower cost of living. And the third thing why everyone wants to move here anyway, we have the beach. Those things are going to stay constant no matter what's going on in the market. So let's jump over back to the computer and take a look at some of the things that are happening in our market right now. And I'm going to jump into our MLS and show you some market stats and what's going on with the market as we speak. Okay, so as you can see on the screen right now, this is a graphic that shows how new listings are going into the MLS and how much inventory is showing up. And as you can see here, if we go back and look, back here in December of 2021, we had 1,222. And yes, that number spiked way up to in May at 2,400. This is kind of a cyclical thing that you can see as it goes through these cycles. We have our spring market, our summer market, our fall market, and whenever those markets are kind of at the peak, that's when the inventory goes up. But as you can see right now in December, obviously with the holidays, not a lot of new property went on the market. If we go and we look at months supply of inventory, this is the one that I like to pay attention to. We have a chief economist who works for the National Association of Realtors, and Dr. Yun shares that if we are less than a 6 months inventory supply, we are in a seller's market. Well, as you can see according to this graphic, we are nowhere near it. Now, as the news sites will tell you, oh, inventory has tripled. We have so much more inventory that's out there. Yes, we do. As you can see from March of 2022, we were at 1.1 months, and that's kind of where things bottomed out with the amount of inventory and where we had the most amount of multiple offer situations, people paying way over. And also at the same time, that's around the time when interest rates started to go up. And so as you can see, as interest rates started to rise, so did the inventory. Less buyers were in the market to purchase at that time. But as you can see, as we get all the way up here to 3.1 months, it has leveled out now. And we have stayed at 3.1 months. That means that the new inventory going on the market has been bought out with the same amount that have sold. And so it has kind of started to level again. I think this is a good thing for our market, a good thing for those of you, though, who are thinking about buying. What that means is that you as a buyer right now, you have the ability to have more options to pick from when you're making that purchase here in Myrtle Beach. You can go and find the homes that fit your needs and have opportunities to get them. You know, as I shared in the video the other week, right now you go try to buy one of those homes, they're going to pay attention to you even if you're doing FHA or a VA loan or USDA loans and don't have a lot of money for the down payment. Whereas last year at this time of year, they weren't paying any attention to you. Why? Because they knew if they waited a few more minutes, they'd have another offer, probably a cash buyer, willing to pay more than asking, and they would get much more money and not have to worry about if your loan was going to get done, if the house would appraise, and they could get a quick, easy cash sale on their home. So as you look here at the inventory supply, we're leveling out. That means that we're going to start to see a good inventory and options for buyers looking to buy, but at the same time, those of you who have financing, you're going to be able to get your offers accepted and looked at. And the final thing that I'm going to take a look at on this graphic is the actual number of homes that are currently for sale. This kind of shows how many homes are actively on the market at this moment. So let's jump over and check it out in the graphic. All right, so here we are looking at homes for sale in December of 2021, and we were at 2,468. That number ducked down as we went through the spring market to our lowest number at 1944, and then as those interest rates went up, so did the number of homes for sale. But as you can see, interest rates started to peak, and started to go down as we hit November, December, and that number got to its highest point at 45.54 and has now dropped down to 43.95. So what does that mean? It means that we're in good shape. We're doing okay. If we kind of draw across the graphic to get a correlation to that, we're looking right around January of 2021. January of 2021 was a pretty good time to buy a house, and the market was pretty strong then. We were pre-pandemic at that point, and well, people didn't know what was going on at that moment yet. And as you can see here in the graphic, when we get to that March point, that's when things really started to go crazy. But as a whole, people who were buying a home in January of 2021 weren't concerned about a market crash. They weren't concerned about pandemics. They weren't concerned about any of those things. And the consumer demand was very high still in Myrtle Beach. And honestly, I feel it's going to be the same way throughout this year. So if you're thinking about making a move to Myrtle Beach, I wouldn't let a concern over interest rates going through the roof or the bubble bursting or any of those things stop you from doing it, because honestly, I don't think it's going to happen, and I really feel Myrtle Beach is going to be a strong place no matter what's happening with the market in the country. And really and truly, at the end of the day, I think during this year, after talking to several people, we're going to see interest rates start to come back down. It's going to make it more buying power for those out there who are thinking about making the move. So if you've been considering that, taking a chance and making a move to Myrtle Beach, all my contact information is going to be down below. Feel free to shoot me an email, shoot me a text. I'm here to help you however I can. And as always, guys, if you enjoyed this video, do me a favor, give it a thumbs up, get that bell on, and I'll catch you in the next one. See ya.